What does God look like? What do you see?
We're solar-powered biological AI.
Wait, what?
These ancient adversarial entities, I think it's the very same ones that rebelled against God and were cast out.
They were sent here to guide us in antiquity, and they took advantage of that and just masqueraded as gods. What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the Greypilled podcast. I am your host, Jules. You know me. Joined for a second time by my buddy Brandon Kroll in the house, everybody, the host of the Mana Daily podcast. Brandon, what's going on, dude?
Hey, how's it going, Jules?
You doing all right? I know we were just talking about, you had I already forgot what you had tore or what you had broken, but I know.
I might have sprained my meniscus.
Meniscus. There we go.
I'm learning all these new medical terms. Last time I hurt my kneecap, it was apparently I busted some of the fluid sacs around my knee, and I was like, I didn't even know we freaking had fluid sacs around the knee, dude. Tell me more.
Neither. That's wild, man. Yeah, well, hopefully you get to feeling better soon. I know you said it was back in February, so yeah. I don't know if it's taken some time to heal up. But it's good to have you here, man. It's good to have you here. For people who may not know who you are or aren't familiar with you, do you want to kind of let people know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Again, like you said, man, a daily podcast. I kind of got into doing this stuff for wow, it looks nice when it's on your screen. I kind of got into doing all this stuff. Literally, I just kind of was ticked when I saw what was going on during COVID. And I said, you know what? I may not know a lot, but I know some things, and I'll start throwing something out there on the good old internet. Made a comment on some guy's post. What's his name? Nick Alvier. And he liked it so much he had me come on. I did a presentation. People loved it. And I've been kind of doing this podcasting thing since. It was not necessarily my intent, but sometimes the presentations or the trivia that I pull together really help people see the world a little bit differently, much like yourself, or just bringing in things of, they don't talk about that from behind the pulpit now, do they?
Right. So
that's kind of what I call it, like a digital missionary platform. It's just literally out there to try to help people.
Yeah,
I think this is the biggest thing. That's part of the reason why I want to talk just with folks in general, is that I like teaching, but there comes a certain point, if you're not taking the homework home with you, everything I say is not going to be relevant. It's not going to work for you. And that's kind of the hate, quote unquote, I'm getting, which I'm fine with it. But I just chuckle because I'm like, if you're not going to pick up the book or something that I'm recommending, you're not going to watch an episode give yourself one episode if you don't have time. Like, when you're driving back and forth to work, just, something. But I'm finding a lot of people, they like to throw the rotten tomatoes and not necessarily dig into stuff that people like yourself and I recommend. They just want to throw their stones and cynicisms without actually ever looking into what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I think that may be a good thing, right, dude? I mean, I went on Tinfoil Hat recently, about a month ago, and nice. Dude, yeah, man, I've gotten a lot of new followers on my audio Spotify.
Nice.
But I've gotten a lot of pushback, right? Mm-hmm. Like tons. Because I was wondering, I was like, I've never really gotten like a mean comment or someone who disagrees with me a lot to a point where they're cussing at me or telling me I suck. That changed. So
did you get any death threats? I got 2 after I did tinfoil.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
someone
was
told
like,
me
what the
to
hell?
jump off a cliff. So
Yes,
maybe
something similar.
that's something similar to a death threat. Yeah.
That was put a shotgun to your mouth fed. That was one of the ones for me. I'm not gonna say the other one because I'm a little bit too graphic. But yeah, I was like, okay, love you too.
Holy shit, man. Wow. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm like, hey man, I respect your opinion, I guess. Thanks for watching, you know. But yeah, I think that means that you're actually making motion, right? Like you're
Mhm.
doing something, you're shifting the paradigm, maybe and like you said, opening a lot of people's eyes up to this stuff. First off, that a lot of people are really like afraid to get into by themselves, right? And I mean, rightly so. You know, there's some things that people could lose themselves in. You know, slippery slopes, right? Uh, but you know, you're you're pushing the truth, right? Or what you are trying to find as the truth, because I have, come to the realization that everyone is on their own journey.
Mm,
When I mean like, all people who are creating content in this realm of conspiracy, the occult, all this stuff that is hidden from us. So and I think last time me and you had a great discussion, man.
I
And
enjoyed it.
that was probably one of my biggest episodes as far as
Oh,
numbers go. Yeah, man. So
nice.
that should say something right there. But yeah, I'm not gonna do that, Jay Brooks. Don't worry. It's good to see you tonight, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out. Hopefully some more people uh join us. But Brandon, yeah, we had been talking. I know last time we talked a little bit about etymology, uh,
Mm,
like dived into some esoteric Christianity, a little bit. And you had mentioned the Kabbalah. And
mhm.
when I think of the Kabbalah, whatever people want to, however they want to pronounce it, it automatically makes me think of basically almost every other mystery school out there, right? Because a
Mhm.
lot of them seem like they all stem from this one book.
Yeah.
Um, what's your take on the
Well,
Kabbalah? Or,
I think I've been narrowing it down a little bit more concisely or making it applicational because I think a lot of people they're just saying, oh, like the Baphomet thing we were covering before, as above, so below. But it's like, okay, what does that actually mean? Well, it's Satanism. Okay, it's Satanism, but what does Satanism look like in practice? Sacrificing babies and doing weird, hookah chaga chants around the campfire. That's what it is. Like, no, no,
right.
there's a little bit more of an incentive, quote unquote, to follow what they do. There's a belief system what they do, and it is literally parallel with that of Christ. It's counterfeit. It looks so similar, but if you don't know what to look for, you're gonna fall for it. And I think I'm seeing an emergence of that, especially with this advocacy and emphatic enthusiasm for statism. Because by advocating that I want to be governed, by advocating, oh, borders, illegal, all this stuff, you are
Mhm.
still advocating I want to be controlled by man. I want somebody else to throw my stones at, cast them at him because he's the one that did it, not me, the Adamic excuse, all the way back to the Garden of Eden, instead of taking personal accountability, personal individualism, and saying, you know what? I got to pick up my cross. I can't point to somebody else like mom and dad does it for me and I get into heaven
Mhm.
because they were. No, you have to make this applicational. And I think, I know this is going to sound extreme, I would almost advocate a lot of people who are advocating government. You're a level one Mason, and you don't even realize it. And there's a guy that I can't remember exact guy who said it. I brought it up in one of my presentations. He says you don't even need to be in a lodge to live the Masonic life. You just have to believe their attributes or what they believe in. Roughly, like I'm a deist. You're already halfway there, right?
Right.
Higher power. It's so vague, but then you make justifications when you're confronted, right? well, you know what this Christmas tree means, right? Well, that's not what it means for me. God knows my heart. So now you've been confronted with the truth, and now you're making excuses for it, right? And this is something Kabbalah, when you just said that phrase, however you pronounce it, that's irrelevant. If you want to just find it in the Bible, it's known as traditions of men. Just replace that word or Kabbalah every time you hear Christ condemning traditions of men, and that is what he's condemning Pharisees of. And to put it in very basic, and I'll throw it back to you, it is in essence being a lawyer like Bill Clinton. We need to define what exactly is. Or when you say you can't have okay, let's take this one. So you say no wheeled vehicle of transportation can be parked here. Are we talking specifically about a car, a bicycle, a skateboard? Are we talking about a baby stroller? What exactly? And you start arguing from that case of, well, define what are you talking about with wheeled vehicle? Are we talking specifically about something that gives us transportation, or are you
A
emphasizing?
scooter?
Yeah, a scooter.
Yeah.
Is it the car? And because you start nitpicking this, is like, did God really say that? Or even when Satan tempts Christ in the wilderness, again, Christ is the word made flesh, he's trying to say, what about this? You know, that's biblical. Counterpoint, I understand what you're trying to go with that, but this one bounces off. This is the context. This is textually what that phrase means. And so what we're doing, spiritually speaking, we're taking God's word, and we're doing exactly what it says don't do in Revelation. Who adds and takes away from this, a curse will be. Yeah, that's what you're doing, is saying, I'm going to take God's word and then justify my nationalism. I'm going to take God's word and justify my patriotism. I'm going to take God's word and justify my holiday participation of putting in the Christmas tree and doing, like, again, sometimes, yes, you can go to an event because you're the only Christian that can maybe, promote somebody from getting away from that, but you don't need to participate in the tree aspect. You don't need to worship it in the decorating aspect. You don't need to, like, there's a part where you are set apart. A patriot means you're part of a country. A saint means you are set apart. And in the last days, it says the Antichrist makes war against the saints. Just Christians? No, those who are actually set apart from the world. That is the enemy. That is the problem, because you're telling people to get right with the word of God. In Revelation 18:23, the voice of the groom and the bridesmaid was heard no longer in thee. Why? Because you didn't want truth. You wanted to interpret it in your definition of things. And that's why Christian nationalism is incredibly dangerous.
Okay.
If that makes any sense with Kabbalah, it's the same thing. I'm just trying to outline it to the end game.
Yeah, well, from my understanding, a main aspect of Kabbalah is, the light and the dark, right? Yeah. And I mean, and I'm sure we'll get into talking about the president and some other stuff,
Right.
King Cyrus, so to say, right? Who they've made him to be, but this duality that you see in a lot of occultism, and that we see in our natural world, man. But what is give me like a definition of statism, because I'm not too familiar with it.
Statism, in a again, I'm not reading dictionary verbatim. I'm going to be doing this in the presentation because, like you just said, oh, I'm a statist. You're advocating for government, so basically back the blue.
Right. Okay.
So don't tread on me or back the blue, because the ones that are the enforcers, is the politician going to come to your door and knock on it and say, give me your guns? No, they're going to pass a legislation and send their goons to come and do it for you. Statism is in essence saying, I support the state's right over me. Whereas in anarchy, and I'm not saying Antifa when I say anarchy, because they're trying to make us paranoid when we're saying that. You look up the etymology, especially in your field, anarchy and anarchy and archons. When you break that down, the etymology does connect, because they were rulers of cities. So therefore you were against the rulers who are
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you read the Geneva Bible of 1599, it says we rule not against flesh and blood, principalities, blah, 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 and worldly governors, which King James conveniently takes out. Why? Because as a Christian, we started converting the empire without becoming the emperor. We converted the empire without getting into, the Senate. we were doing it because people were seeing our actions. People were leaving the temples. People were starting to say, I don't buy idols anymore when we're reading about Paul and all this stuff. Why? It doesn't make sense. Is this a new philosophy movement? Paul, please come atop of Mars Hill and elaborate what exactly it is you believe in. Like we get in 1 Peter 3:15, that they ask of the hope and faith that's within you. Philippians 3:20 says about our citizenship being in heaven. Now, some translations will say our conversation, but right, either citizenship or conversation, whatever version you want to go with. What is that saying to people? What I say, what I live, what I do is emulating the kingdom of heaven. I'm not part of Rome. I am an anarchist, as in, I don't need the government, right? I don't need the government to tell me what to do. I have the Bible to help me do that. The other is pretty basic common sense. But when you start implementing statism as your hedge of how to define the world and how you view the world, how you perceive the world, that's my border. I need to go fight for my government. I need to be loyal and pledge allegiance to a state. What are you doing? You're now saying I am part of this world and I am also part of God.
But in reality, you're probably pledging your allegiance to an entity, right?
Yes.
Uncle Sam, who,
Or Baphomet, when you put those two
Samael, right? Uncle Samael. Yeah, there you go. I did want to pull this up real fast. We did get
Samael, that's good. That's good. Well, scary, but yes, yeah.
Yeah. No, I've talked. So we got a $2 Rumble rant from Soul Explorer. Congrats on tinfoil hat, bro. Sam has created as many well-known conspiracy theorists as 9/11. Yes, absolutely, Soul. It was an honor to go on there. And hopefully, he's a busy guy, but Sam said he would love to come on Greypilled. So did XG. I invited XG to Sunday Chaos, and the show I do on Sundays. It's wild. It's a good time though, and he said he's down to come on. Johnny as well. So hopefully we can get the boys from Tinfoil Hat on Greypilled. Soul, thank you for the $2 donation, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Woo.
But yeah, man. And in this way, it does give people, I guess, this feeling like, oh, well, I can trust in the state. And in trusting in the state, you're not trusting in the creator as much, right?
Yes, or you're not putting that as your emphasis. And what does he say? Don't put any gods before me. I think I was reading something, it was a meme, but again, once in a while these things pop up, and then I'm like, thank you, because other people are seeing it. It says, don't make any images that they pray to. Don't make anything made out of beasts. The eagle that we have, which again, I was in this upcoming one I'm doing on Doge. The eagle and the bull are written the same way in Hebrew, and I was going, and we put that on top of our flagpoles. Oof.
Yeah, we just talked about on Already Dead the other day how the Assyrian man bull and all the symbolism that comes from that, such as stories such as the Minotaur, and that also comes from the bull of heaven and the ancient Sumerian mythologies. But with the eagle, absolutely, man. And you see that, ties directly to Freemasonry. And the eagle in the mysteries is actually the phoenix, so it gets a lot more occultic, alchemical, and people don't know, right? Like they're not
America
familiar
is known
with
as the land of the phoenix. That's what a lot of people also don't know. Or Tortoise Island, which connects with Hermes, and Hermes connects with the Twin Towers and the Caduceus staff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, Mystery Babylon, make America great again. Like on their head was written Mystery Babylon the Great from Revelation 17:5. I'm like,
the Magus.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And people don't see it because, so if you were able to read signs and symbols, as Manly P. Hall said, 33 Degree Mason, says when people learn to read the language of symbolism, a great veil will fall from the eyes of men. And Revelation happens to mean the lifting of the veil during a play for Greek or something. So I'm like, yeah, the final act. And there's people like yourself, myself, we're over here telling people this is what that means. No, it doesn't. It's not what it means to me. It's like, it's not me. I'm telling you what they believe, but because in church as well, we don't talk about what they do. We're prejudiced, but we're not even curious. What exactly do they do in the dark? And when we do start talking a little bit about what they do in the dark, oh, you shouldn't look into that because that's it, it connects into Satanism. Well, shouldn't we be wary of our adversary, the devil? No. We get a rapture before anything gets really bad, so don't worry about it. So meantime, we just keep voting, keep contributing to the lesser of two evils, and do they hear themselves? And I think this is part of the thing why, dude, it's really hard for me to go to church because all they teach on is statism, or our southern border, or what's going on over there in Israel. And I'm like, you're not even familiar with the Talmud. It's like that like Sharia law, sure, that's against like everybody, real extreme. I get it. Talmud hates Christians specifically and Christ. But this is the people we're defending over the other one, even though it has literally all practical elements of the same things within Sharia law. And like, at what point do we say, ideology-wise, that's pretty dangerous, that's pretty bad, but we go after Muslims, but we don't go after God's chosen people because special clause, they're excluded from anything and scrutiny like that? Give me a break, dude.
Right. And I mean, when you go into a lot of churches, I don't know if it's all of them, but I'm sure down south with the Baptist churches, especially, they have that flag of Israel hanging up, and you're like, hey, you're hanging a hexagram up for your congregation. You're hexing your congregation and supporting an entity, right? Like, Israel has become this entity, they have, I guess you could say, subverted the original meaning of it, right?
I wouldn't even say that because specifically, God is not a God of symbols.
Okay.
He's a God of his word. And this is why I know people don't like me saying this either, but that's why I emphasize don't put up the cross either.
Say it, dude. Yeah,
what do you mean? What's wrong with the cross? In Hebrews 12:2, he conquers that symbol and brings it before the throne of God. Why? Because when you folded up the Gnostic cross, go ahead, do a Google images. If you don't believe me, if you think I'm just rolling my eyes.
We're going to do Google images.
I think there should be more than a few images that pop up.
The Gnostic cross?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I typed in. I took a couple screenshots and I'll throw it up in a presentation.
The ringed cross?
Not ringed, just like the Gnostic cross, like sprawled out in 6 quadrants.
Okay.
But you'll see as above on one of them, but the below. But when you fold that up, that's a Kaaba cube. That's the little thing that they're wearing when they're going up the Wailing Wall, and or the black cube that you see atop of Trump Tower, or the black cube in Mecca. It's the same thing. You know what it represents? Earth. So pick up your cross, right? So when we're saying the world behind me, the cross before me, no, that's the same thing. The world behind you, the world in front of you, world in front of you. Like, that's what it means when you understand symbolism.
Is this what you're talking about?
No. Let's see.
Okay. Well, here, hold on. What should I specifically type in?
Gnostic cross, six sprawled out, or six squares, something like that. Because when you understand, God is a God of his word, hence that is Christ. Because what does it say in John 1:14? The word became flesh and dwelt amongst us. Revelation 19:13. And Christ, the Prince of Peace, he is the word of God coming to reclaim us. Why? Because he comes for those who are his priest, his high priest, which is the whole premise of the book of Hebrews. If you're advocating for me, you understand what the gift of the Holy Spirit is. That's your oil. That's Holy Spirit discernment. That's what the sleeping bridesmaids didn't have, because they didn't understand context. But when you understand it, the world's going to hate you. They're going to cast slurs at you. They're going to kick you out of the family. They don't, they're not going to see you as part of their worldly congregation. Why? Because you are set apart. You're a saint because you understand. Does it make you better than everybody else? No. It's just saying, I understand and I don't want to be part of that anymore. So I'm not going to be wearing a symbol or praying to the symbol of the cross. That is when Christ, quote unquote, was at his weakest. That's the symbol he dies upon. Well, right. It doesn't mean that to me. He conquers that symbol.
It's a graven image, right?
Yes. And you look it up, it connects with Tammuz, which is equivalent of Hermes in the Greek, or Thoth. That's Christ pagan doppelganger. And this whole thing with the pyramids, look up the eight-pointed die for D&D.
Well, let's okay, so what I'm getting when I look up this Gnostic cross, I'm getting the Rose cross of the Rosicrucians.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. No, that's the same thing.
Maybe able to go over to my favorites, send it over to you. Maybe you could do something there. Yeah, dude. And for me, that's why Christians don't seem to get it, because if you're living the word, you don't need things of this world. And that's where I'm also advocating. It's like, well, if you're going by what you just said, Mithraism, the bull, all this stuff, slaying the bull, that's killing God in their occult versions. If I slay God, I can become my own God. So in essence, you're telling me if God came down in human form, that means he was in Mary's womb for 9 months. He took a hiatus for about 30 years from heaven. And then he freaking did his ministry for 3.5 years, and then he died for 3 days. Well,
right.
Okay. Are you telling me by this belief system, are you telling me that we killed God? No. Okay. So can we concur that we killed an aspect of God? Yes. Okay. And what was that aspect? Hence we go back. The word became flesh, right? And this is where when he's giving the parable, I sent my prophets to you, and you stoned them. I sent the second messenger to you, and you killed him. And then I sent my son, the word, my very word, I encapsulated in human form to my promise that I made to Abram, all the way to King David, all the way to freaking Mary and Joseph, and you killed him. Why? Because they always reject the word. Why? Because it is applicational. And because you don't want to make it applicational, you persecute it. But yes, that's when the rose and the cross are united. The alchemical marriage, as above, so below, is complete, and the drama ends. Then we wake from history and enter eternity.
Yeah, here, hold on. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to put these photos on my desktop because people can probably see the messages and the StreamYard link. I didn't even think about that. Oh, man. Let's see.
We won't invite you on stage. Go away.
I mean, hey, it you got to catch me in the mood.
Yeah.
Well, certain Patreon members of the highest tier.
I'm doing that with some of mine. I'm doing a chit chat, and then I like a round table, and then I'm throw them on for an episode. Trying to find out where I put my last one though.
What's up?
I'm trying. I did one with 2 individuals. Only 2 were able to make it. And I'm freaking misplaced the episode. I'm trying to upload it and do another one.
I've lost a few episodes. I actually just found a couple unreleased ones that I am going to be dropping to the Patreon.
Nice.
All right, I'm going to pull this up. I have them on my desktop now. StreamYard, man. StreamYard's not the I need to master OBS. I've been trying again. I kind of gave up for a minute, and then I was like, yeah, fuck it. I'll try.
I need tech help, dude. I get it. I do get it.
Yes, I'm not the best with some of this tech stuff. Okay, let's share the screen. So back to this image. Yeah, you said
yeah,
the rose and the cross. I don't know why it's looking all weird like that, but when the rose and the cross are united, the alchemical marriage is complete and the drama ends. Then we wake from history and enter eternity.
Yeah. And
Robert Anton Wilson.
The colors for as above, so below are red and black. And what do
those are alchemical colors, brother.
And what do we see with Elon? Oh, I'm Dark MAGA. He wears black cap. Trump wears the red. MAGA means magician.
The dark MAGA and the light MAGA, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Or it's balancing each other out. One means Terra, one means Earth, one means that. And then when you look up the thing with the pyramid, that's not a coincidence that they just
you talking about the stuff underneath. Oh, dude.
Why? Because when you look up the D&D dice, the 8 points, again, 8 is a mirror 33, or the Ouroboros, the infinity logo, which is right over the magician on the tarot card. Yeah. the all-seeing eye. Why are they showing that to us now when Alice Bailey said in 2025 that their Messiah figure, all these things are going to start kicking into gear? They're showing us and telling us that intentionally. You look up My Pet Goat, which is going to be another episode that I'm doing, not specifically by that title, but they have a thing where they're pulling out the Ark of the Covenant from the inside of the pyramid, and then they're opening it up, and they're like, oh, look, that's the original covenant. That's the original 10 Commandments. That's Aaron's rod. That's what they're planning on doing. And the individual that they have on there, I'm like, he looks kind of similar to Elon Musk in the AI image that they're showing. I was like,
dude, yeah, I've had a theory that Elon Musk is the Lucifer archetype. The false light.
I think he's the false prophet. I think Baron actually is, and Baron's supposed to be in voodoo, the god of the underworld, or yeah. So I'm just saying, because this guy in Hawaii, he had a vision, and it sounded very similar to the Ezekiel vision from chapter 8, when he's talking about the priest doing this ritual in his own temple, and he thinks it's after hours. They think I don't see Ezekiel. I do see this going down. But what he was witnessing is that Elon was going over and bowing to Baron Trump, and then he turns Baron, looks to and he says, "You guys have raised me for this position, and I'm now here to claim my birthright." And then he made Melania bow. She did willingly. Trump didn't want to, and then he did some kind of little telekinesis thing, and Trump was forced to actually get down and grovel before Baron. You look up images of Baron alongside that of paintings of Lucifer, spitting image.
All we need now is him posing like, with his eyes and whatnot.
Yes.
To put it side by side. But, dude, that's something to think about, man. I didn't even bring Baron into the equation with, Trump.
Why is he always lurking behind them? And like I said, you have to.
He's pretty damn tall, right?
Yeah, you have to complete the Ouroboros, which is they had Nimrod reborn into Tammuz. So to reverse the Ouroboros, you need to have a Tammuz, which Trump has name etymology to, and then go back into a Nimrod host, right? And I think that would be Lucifer. So therefore, this is the unholy trinity, an equivalent. You would have Elon being the false prophet, Trump being the AC, and then Lucifer literally reigning would be Baron. It's a hunch. It's a theory. I'm just saying that I could see. But
the red and black, that is the alchemical process, right? So right here, east, north, south, west, above. Could you interpret this for me a little better? Because
tons.
Gnosticism is one thing that I've yet to do a deep dive into. However, there's a lot of Gnostic themes that I have looked into, but as far as this goes, I haven't. I'm not too familiar with it.
Are you familiar with the definition of the word cathode or Catholic?
No.
Universal. Or the universal church, cathode. You notice the moon is in the very center, and or if you're folding this up, that would be at the very base, right? In the very center here. Crescent moon. Again, who's known for sitting between a crescent moon? Virgin Mary and or the Queen of the Heavens in the Bible. Ashtaroth, Ishtar, Isis, fill in the blank, Cybele. She has many names, always the same lady, aka who do you call her? Nimrod's wife, mother. Whatever version of the story is true. When you're looking on the left, you'll note that, the target symbol. Yes, Target, the store that you shop at. Very intentional by design. But that would be, if you put the Hermetic Kabbalah tree of life right over this on the left side, that would symbol enlightenment. And this is why Christ's pagan doppelganger, when he sucks at the teat of the Virgin Mary, it's always on the left side. Because it's going to be the way you find your inner light, enlightenment, inner light. That's what that actually symbolizes, right? Inner wisdom, where in contrast, what does the Bible tell us? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. You don't find it within. When you look at the top square, east, right? You see the 69 on the bottom of that square? That's the symbol of Cancer, or July. When did Trump get shot?
July.
Yeah, in July. And ironically enough, if you're going by Revelation 13:7, that the dragon, Baron was there at Butler rally shooting, the dragon gave his power unto the beast. Just saying. It was Revelation 13:3-4, When you take the day he was shot was the 13th of July. Three, what was it? Three and the 7th, 3 and 4 add up. That makes the 7th month. Whether or not true, just something that I found kind of interesting. Also, when you're doing the Masonic arch, that 69 symbol would be right in the crux between the two pillars, which you look at the top of that little square in the top square. See the two pillars? That's the sign of Gemini. That could be
Right.
the Twin Towers, or when you're going into the Temple of Solomon,
The
aka Solomon.
Joachim and Boaz. Yeah.
Again, reference for folks, because everybody gets upset when I do a gesture. I'm showing it for reference purposes so you understand when you see an occult person doing it, you can call it out and be, this is exactly what it means, not just they're in the club. That's another thing that I hate. It's like I'm trying to tell you exactly what it means. The Twin Towers coming down represents Joachim and Boaz in the pillars of Freemasonry. To go between them, right? When you come into a Masonic lodge, they have you blindfolded. They make you kneel down,
And
you're
naked.
sitting, huh?
And naked.
Yeah. You're sitting between two candlesticks, and there's a third one right off in the bottom right-hand corner. That represents the third building that fell on 9/11. And I did an episode, Why Were They Dancing? Their Messiah figure was coordinated on 9/11. Trump was shot at 6/11. At least that's when the report went up there.
I also think that has something to do with the 3 initiates that murdered Hiram Abiff as well.
Mm-hmm.
You see that 3
I'm
a
not
lot.
done quite yet. If you bring up the image, it just appeared on my screen. But yes, you're correct. But what did Hiram get? Oh, look, he found a way to be reborn. He still understands some stuff. So I'm just going to go down to the bottom one now. But the bottom one, in the very center, you recognize that symbol?
No.
Transgender? Sign of Hermes?
Oh, shit.
Hermaphrodite? As above, so below?
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, my God. That is where the term hermaphrodite comes from.
Mount
Hermes.
Hermon, hermaphrodite.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
It's hermeneutics in the Bible in our seminaries. Semiramis, seminary. Like, this is stuff where I'm like, guys, you're the one going to this thing. You're the one standing behind a pulpit, standing on an altar, right? I don't think that's biblical. You're standing on a thing telling people we need to prepare for the, God's coming because it could be any day or any hour, and we got to get ready to get raptured up. No, we're called to go forth and make disciples of all nations and to be wary of our adversary, the devil. We're not talking about this symbol. Instead, we have that sitting behind you, pastor, while you're doing your sermon. Are you teaching us about the principles of Hermes, Tammuz, Sol Invictus, find the inner light of God within yourself? Variation, right? Because you're telling me to merge with state, soldier, soul, sun god, D-I-E-R, one who is to die. So when I say soldier, I'm destined to die for a sun god? You're telling me to do that as to be a good patriot to my country? No, that's not biblical at all. You should shut up. You're a heretic. This is why the early church did not like too much to have soldiers coming into their congregation, or a police, whatever you want to call it. Why? Conflict of interest. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying like there's exceptions that can't be made with like Cornelius, but I highly suspect Cornelius was the guy, the centurion that was at the base of the cross that said, truly this man was the Son of God. Because if you witness that, then a couple months later, what are you going to do? If his disciples are still alive, I have to ask Peter, what is it to be a Christian? Because I saw something that day that I can't explain. Does it mean you walk away immediately? No, it's dying to self daily. But I would advocate, once you know the truth, you have to start weaning yourself away from these things, right? Die to self daily. Once you become aware, to him that knows it is a sin. That's what it says in James, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm pretty much done, but that's just some of the stuff I'm going to be covering in that episode.
Yeah, you had sent me another picture.
Yes, it's just a lot of it was just
The same.
If this one doesn't make sense,
thing.
maybe this one will make sense.
Ah, I got you. Yeah, this is
yeah, when it's completely folded up.
Let's
maybe zooming in.
Zoom.
I should have just run that down for you. I'm sorry.
You're good.
But yeah, again, east meets west, north to west, right? Helios, east meets west. You look up a plethora of articles. There is tons inferring with Trump in that title. There's like 5 or 6. I think I did that on Strange Sauna podcast, and he brought up a bunch of visuals for me to use as reference. But again, as above, so below. So as we said before, what does Baphomet sit on? AKA Hermes, that's what Baphomet is, and or Mithra. He sits on the dome. He sits in the throne of God. So when you're actually carrying around this cross or Christian nationalism flag, right? Red, white, and blue, the colors of Egypt. That's the same colors that they use for the flag. A red cross. Like, do you guys? Again, I'm not
Right.
bashing.
Well, dude, it's like, is America? I know it's like New Babylon, right? But is it
Yeah.
New Egypt as well?
Yes. When
We have
you look
obelisks
on the
everywhere.
right.
You have Memphis.
Yes.
Directly in an area of the country that's rumored to be maybe the Garden of Eden. You know what I mean? Back when it was all one continent.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Don't get
man.
rid of it just yet. But yeah, exactly. Everything. I think it's east of the Mississippi is exactly like you just said. It's the same town, Memphis. Elon just said that our new god will come from Memphis. Now, is he talking about Memphis, Tennessee? Or is he talking about Memphis, Egypt? Or is he talking about both at the same time? Maybe there'll be a portal, right? Like we're already getting in New York to Ireland or Scotland, wherever it is that they opened up that thing. And you notice what everything else around as above, so below, east and west, and on this thing? Do you notice what those symbols are?
Let me see. Hold on. Now look at my.
You'll recognize it in a second.
Are those just the zodiacal symbols, or yeah,
But what is it? What are those called?
sigils?
Astrological signs, right? Astrological
Well, yeah. Okay.
And what did we say before? Angels were known as star walkers, star seed off the Big Bang, right? You shall become like gods. We put stars and angels atop of our Christmas trees. What does it say in Jeremiah 10, verses 1 through 5, 10:2 specifically? Be not like the pagans who look to the stars or in awe and wonder of them, right? And what do we get? Astronaut, astro meaning star, not as in water, nautical. Ashtaroth, red star, pentagram. They're already showing you by believing in this counterfeit that you'll rise to become like your own god, right? Right, like right when we get in the Garden of Eden. Take from this tree the knowledge of good and evil, right? As above, so below, and you shall be like gods. And what do we get in Genesis 6:4? In Enoch 6, the sons of God came down and had affairs with the daughters of men. Now, when we get over in, I think it's First John, you get Paul. I think he wrote that, or was it John? Behold, what manner the love of the Father, that we, Christians, should be called the sons of God. Now, if you're going by Psalm 82, what Dr. Heiser was talking about, we sit in judgment over them. Is it possible that those who are denying all of this secularism, all this statism, all this lies of the archons that were giving to Nimrod's family, the unholy trinity of Babel, is it possible that those who persevered against all this temptation and distractions and didn't buy the lie of finding the inner God within yourself or justifying your sins, that they will take the place of the new heavenly council? Because God is looking for loyalty. And how do you prove your loyalty? By abiding by his word and his standards written in his word. Old Testament, that was for a group of people. New Testament, updated user terms of agreement. If you love God, you have to abide by my word. As we get in John 3:36, right? If you're going to love God, you have to be obedient to the Son, the Word. Or 1 John 2:22. You are antichrists who deny the Father and the Son. Let's read that one more time, but we're going to replace the last word. You are antichrist who denies the Father and the Word. Christ was the Word made flesh. So if you're, no man comes to the Father but by me. So if you're going by Trinitarian, I have to go through God in order to get to God. No man comes to the Father but by me, the Word of God. I think it's in Ephesians chapter 2, verses 19 and 20, that we are brought in based off the works of the apostles and the prophets, who were what? As we get in 2 Peter, the scriptures were written by holy men of God that were inspired by the Holy Spirit. And every time a prophet came into town, what did they say? Thus saith the Lord. It's not me saying this. This is God. I'm just voicing what he tells me to tell you people because you're grieving his heart. I have a relationship with him because I'm walking with him. Right?
Yeah.
He wants that on an individual basis, but we keep make a pastor do it, make the priest do it, make the politician do it. No, personal accountability and responsibility, my friend.
Well, one thing I saw here that you see in a lot of is the rose on the cross, right?
Mhm.
It's the same rose you see on the insignia of Martin Luther,
Yes.
right? To me, it seems like Martin Luther was a Rosicrucian as well, as
Highly
with King
suspect.
James being a Freemason. And I don't know. Once you start seeing, like, once you have a gnosis of what these symbols mean, man, and you just start seeing them everywhere.
And you start second guessing is like, okay, D.L. Moody was part of the dispensationalist movement, so do we trust him? Spurgeon was a 33-degree Mason, as was his son. Do we just, and I'm seeing some people, they're quoting them, and I'm like, I understand you can quote somebody, but also be aware of what their background is and also always call out, hey, I understand I just quoted this guy, but I'm just throwing that out there. Like Mark Twain, 33-degree Mason. Sometimes I'm like, that's a good thing. Like if voting was okay, they would, or was whatever, they wouldn't allow us to do it, right? If it had any meaning.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Good quote. You're astute. It's a good thing to, yes, but do I also understand you're a Mason? Yes, and unfortunately, I have to call that out. Because if I'm endorsing you and people start following you, just like with John Wayne, right? Good, I'm all-American hero. Another 33-degree Mason and also a Shriner. No, yes. But the American dream, right? The Jesuit ideology, the head of the cattle drive was a Jesuit. The guy that founded all that in the West, as you can get in the book Rulers of Evil by Tupper Saucy. Recommend the online version because printing that out if you can. Because getting a physical copy, almost $2,000. So I would recommend buying it if you can get it. But he was talking about how they were basically using a lot of the cowboy movies to introduce what? Light and dark, good morals. What's wrong with good morals? Nothing's wrong with good morals. If you watch the movie Time Changer, which you can watch for free on YouTube, kind of cheesy on some points, but it's a Christian movie. And the premise is the guy is coming over to him and he's trying to publish this book. And he is saying, Dr. Carlisle, I like your book, but the thing is, you're trying to attract people to Christianity just by good morals alone. He says, well, I think we can attract people to Christianity by good morals. He says, yes. He says, but what you need, you eject the name of God as the authority of who tells you what you do, then you're already negating the purpose of what Christianity is. He says, when we quote Shakespeare, we say this is Shakespeare. How come we don't do the same thing when we're quoting Christ? See? So again, who defined two genders? Was it Trump when he signed legislation, or was that God in the Garden of Eden?
Wow.
Is that common sense? Good morals?
Yeah.
Right? Because
I
Satan's
mean,
not against that.
some people, I don't know, man. Some people may go with the Trump thing.
Great. Do you see how scary that is? Because they're over here
No.
going, well, yes, he made common sense normal again, what you define as common sense, right? It's good morals. Satan's not against good morals. He's against you acknowledging the word as truth, because if you actually acknowledge the word as truth, you are living it. You don't need to take his word for it to interpret what it means to you.
Yeah. You're ruining cowboy movies for people.
Stick around me. I make everybody depressed. I'm sorry.
Well, a lot of people see the Kabbalists behind Trump, right? We had William Ramsey on Already Dead, and he put out there and showed a lot of evidence that the Knights of Malta, which comes from like the Order of St. John, the Jesuit order, all that, had just as much influence as these Kabbalah rabbis, right? I mean, you got Pete Hegseth with the literal Malta cross
Mhm.
tattooed on him.
Now he just got the Dust Volt one on his arm.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not even hiding it, folks.
No, that's intentional as well,
Yes.
right? That they're not hiding it, and they've never hid it, dude.
Yeah.
We're just now we're aware of it, right? We were ignorant to it before. Now we've wised up just a little bit,
Some have wised up. Steve Bannon, he was being pressed by someone that was from Israel. I'm not sure if it was a trick question or not, but the guy was after I think it was talking at CPAC. He says, "Don't worry, MAGA, evangelicals, and traditional Catholics will always have Israel's back." Okay, thank you for telling me the three heads of the Trinity right there. Like, Masons,
absolutely, yeah.
Jesuits, and you're telling me basically Christian nationalism is going to be the thing that supports the synagogue of Satan, right? And because most people don't understand symbolism, they don't, oh, that's conspiracy. That's conspiracy. I don't want to talk to you. You're making my head spin. Okay, right. I get it. But you're also rejecting knowledge. And in Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And because you rejected knowledge, I will reject you from being my high priests. And I will also forget your children. And what we get in Hebrews, I think it's in chapter 10, that we now can go boldly into the Holy of Holies where the high priest goes because of the blood and sacrifice of Christ. And his body was that flesh and the veil torn for us so we can do that, right? So we can boldly advocate the word. So when I'm seeing this guy who wrote a comment saying, "Who do you think you are to tell somebody they're not a Christian?" Just another saint that is actually speaking up and not just sitting here twiddling my thumbs, not posting anything on my social media, sitting behind a blocked private wall. I'm actually saying something. I'm putting my face out there. I'm putting my neck on the line. I would sacrifice my 401k and savings to do what I do. When you keep saying, you're putting these little memes, oh, if Paul wrote a letter to the modern church, imagine what I would say. I'm another writer and I'm writing an inscription and it's making you upset. And I'm not even calling you out specifically. I'm calling out and condemning actions of people who are putting haha emojis about a little immigrant girl that's getting deported as she's going through chemotherapy for brain cancer. You're putting a haha emoji on that, Mr. Christian? One of them was a 50-year-old lady. You think that's funny? What does it say in Matthew 7:23? Is this going to be your life first? Depart from me, I never knew you. What does he say right before that? You were denying all these people. You were denying me. Right? That's what I am grievous about is I don't see borders. I see people. I'm not advocating. I get it. If somebody's coming into your home and they have malicious intent to kill you or hurt your family or the home invasion or whatever, I'm not going to say the R word because I don't know where, post this. But if that's what they're going to do, you have all rights to defend yourself. More power to you. Do it. But does that mean you have to hate everybody that's not here legally because Uncle Sam, King John, doesn't want them hunting their deer? Because they're not going through the digital processing of the entry-exit visa scan that they want to implement. It's just to go from one district to the other is what they eventually want with this technocratic empire that you don't realize. The Alchemical. That's all what the technocracy is.
Well,
Anyways, I'll shut up.
no, dude, you're fine. You're fine. You can cook as long as you want. Like you said before, people fear what they don't have a grasp of, right? And I mean, I just think I don't know, man. I think it's a little unhealthy to just reject everything that, I mean, some people won't even look into certain things, like we were saying earlier. Because I would say some topics are a very slippery slope.
Yes.
Especially when it gets into the occult. You got to have some sense of discernment. I always say that. If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have looked into it as much as I have. But I think it's made my walk with Christ stronger in a way. And I've explained that before, and I've had people unsubscribe for me talking about that.
I had a Sunday school teacher, dude, back in the day, and I think I was like mildly perusing the Da Vinci Code by that author guy that breaks down. And again, he was like, it was like 14 or 15. He's like, you gotta get rid of that book because that gets into Gnosticism and all this stuff. And I'm like, I wasn't reading it to convert. I'm kind of reading it to understand what do they believe, not in an appeal of fascination, but more of a why do people think this is something, right?
Right.
And that should behoove us, because if your kid is just gravitating into the drugs, alcohol, sex, gang community, right? Or like, what prompted them psychologically to gravitate towards this, right? What's the foundation that would pull somebody into thinking like that? Like a serial killer. When you're watching all these stuff with Criminal Minds, I used to love that show. What was the profile? What's the attributes that get somebody to think like this? What's the stats of somebody that once they kidnap somebody or when they're killing somebody, right? This is what I'm trying to process, because I find it kind of fascinating that Christians, we're just one bad day from becoming them, right? The worst of the worst sinners. I want to understand, how did you get that morally depraved? What was the thing that sparked your path into causing all of this harm on humanity? Not because I want to emulate that. I just want to make sure I live for Christ and not do what you did. What was the thing that got your ball rolling in that area?
Well, I think I have an answer to that. Maybe a lot of Christians, I'd say, when they think they're saved, they think that's it, right?
Yes.
The battle's over. They're very wrong, man.
Yes.
And that goes back into duality. Brandon is like, a lot of things are dualistic, and I think we've talked about it before with the intention of things, right? I think intention is very important, especially when you're diving into these certain topics, because like I said, a lot of Christians they don't want to really understand this stuff. It scares them. I mean, if they're not already in fear, it puts them in a lot more fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I think you're spot on with a lot of this stuff. And me and you, we have some good discussions, dude. I didn't know how long you could go tonight.
Well, I could keep going, dude. This is
Okay. Yeah. No, then we're good. We're good.
because like I get comments
Um,
from people that are saying like, oh, you're just fear mongering. Oh, you're just doing. No, I actually understand what the dark side is. And I think I was reading one thing. A lot of people are putting out some really good memes. But
oh,
to
always,
paraphrase,
man.
they're putting. They said sometimes they won't understand you because they haven't had a traumatic experience that made you come closer to Christ. That's kind of what happened with me. Is like I was aware of a lot of this dark stuff, but after I told you before, the car accident, that really was a moment for me of you got to start looking to the Word, Brandon. Even if you think your life's shattered, you got to start looking to the Word. And in doing so, I had to start seeing, basically get down to washing feet. Like, granted, yes, it's a story, it's an action, but what is it also telling us metaphorically? I'm going to come down to your level, right? I'm the Word of God. I have so much compassion, right? God so loved the world. I have so much compassion for you that the Word of God is literally going to say, come here, let me wash your feet, little lamb. Do you understand the level of what the demons are thinking and what fallen angels are thinking? They have not seen and been in the presence of the glory of God in heaven. And now they're seeing God's word manifested, getting down and washing a mortal's feet. That is so beneath you. Really, literally, right? Earth beneath me. That is so beneath you. When he's talking about when somebody rejects you in the town from the message that you're giving to dust off your sandals, what's that symbolic of? You want the things of this earth? There's your earth. Have fun with it. Is it a curse? No, but for me, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, if that's what you want, I warned you until I was blue in the face. You want the things of this earth, and may the things of this earth be yours. Dust unto dust, right? You're made from the dust of the earth. But what is he giving us? Celestially speaking, soul, there's only one person that ever crossed that firmament barrier. Christ. So by accepting Christ, the Word made flesh, this is how we're born again. He's a celestial ambassador, the very first to come and redeem us. No angel did that. No. God's word was kept, the covenant, the ketubah. And now it's on an individual basis that if you want to take personal responsibility and not just cast the buck and put the responsibility on, give us a king in 1 Samuel 8. No. Stop looking for the holy man. Stop looking for a judge and a prophet to always have to baby it down and go, here comes the airplane. You got to open your mouth. No. Give me the book so I can read it for myself. When I'm faltering, call me out on it. If I don't understand something, please explain it to me. And it's not to put you down. Just be like a Bereanian. Paul said this. Is it true? Let's check the scriptures. He doesn't condemn them. Good. Cross-reference it. But another thing that I'm seeing with these statists, well, you're taking that verse out of context. Yes, perhaps to you, because all you know is the dispensationalist aspect of God and country. I have the right to defend my country with God, guns, and beer, you know? But do you understand what exactly the prophets were always condemning? You don't know what Baal worship is, do you? So therefore, how are you going to understand a prophet's heart that's grieving when they're advocating for God, saying, what you're doing is pulling the nation away? What I'm trying to explain to you is what they were doing was this. It's still going on today. Satan isn't just, oh, dark mystical powers, I'm going to throw my plague across Egypt and that's it.
Well,
No, he's got disciples, and we don't talk about that.
well, they try to kind of make Satanism a blanket for all, like just kind of a blanket term for all of these other orders, right? When
Yes.
Satanism, and really when you look into the temple of Set, anything, Satan, Set, it's the worship of self, right? Like the separation from the creator, from God, right?
Yes.
And just indulging in worldly things, not really walking with the Holy Spirit. And so, I mean, and that's what I thought, when people say that the country was founded by Christians, you're kind of like, well, were the founding fathers Christian? Have you seen the symbolism? Have you seen fucking George Washington
Yes.
on surround I keep forgetting what it was.
Doing the Baphomet pose with the sword.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they were part of numerous orders. Hellfire Club, like Ben Franklin, dude. Like these guys were into some weird stuff. And so yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think when you trust in your state or your nation, especially with who runs it, I mean, if you don't know by now that these people don't have your best interest in mind, like I don't know what to tell you, man.
Right.
Like I'm dead. Like, bro, I'm convinced that at least half the population of this earth are just NPCs now.
Well, yeah, dude, and I hate to say it. So what's the non-player character, right? The non-player character, I'm not sure if you can give me a copy of this, but this might be a good thing to throw up as a clip. The non-player character, what is that? It's a non-player character. That is the NPC. The NPC is somebody that is not what I'm programmed to do. Right? I don't perform outside my shopkeeper task when I'm supposed to sell you goods if you walk into this building in the game. Right? This is in essence what they're doing. I just check in, check out. I do my rat race. I get my 401k. I wait for Rapture Jesus. If not, I go home to be with the Lord. That's all you're doing. What does Christ do? I'm already on my journey, but follow me and I'll make you a fisher of man. Right? We live in a world of followers, right? And everybody thinks that followers makes you popular. The number of views that you have makes you popular. All this stuff, right? This is how we view it secularly. That's what makes you a good person. The other one is saying, whether you're going to come with me or not, I really don't care. I'm going to keep doing me. You're welcome to follow. I'm just going to keep walking my path. Right? That is what you're supposed to do. The NPC says, I can't get rid of my riches. Sorry, rich man, you can't go through the eye of the needle because it's too much for you. Materialism is how you're programmed, is to love the things of this earth. Kabbalah, that's all you know. But celestially speaking, if you could just submit and sacrifice, oh, the rewards that you will get in heaven. You don't even know the things I could possibly give you for your allegiance and loyalty to me. But because you're too afraid to get out of the boat and walk on some water, well, ye of little faith. God doesn't like cowards. That is the whole premise of when he's talking about the guy that didn't, the servant that didn't use his talents. I was afraid, I gave him 5, he made me 10. I gave him 10, he made me 20. And you hid it because you were scared? I just wanted 2 from you. I gave you bare minimum. I didn't have that much confidence in you to begin with because I gave you 1, but you couldn't even try to do a little bit with what little I gave you? Somebody else. Well, I can't do much. I just have a social media account. You can't upload 1 video, a little bit controversy. Maybe it will reach somebody's timeline with all this other shadow ban stuff. Maybe it'll reach 2 people in your algorithm. Well, I can't do that because, it's too much for you, isn't it? But you can write a cynical comment. You can, bash people like us that get out there. I'm willing to talk about a topic. At least I've bothered to look into it and said, I'm not scared of the dark. No. What are we called to do in Ephesians 5:11? Have no part with fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Where are the bright lights coming down saying, come on out and play? We're not scared of you, giant. You can blaspheme God all you want, Goliath, but we're going to pick up some stones and we're going to take you down because nobody does that. Not in my presence. Why? Because I love God. And if you're an enemy of God, I do not like you. I'm willing to convert you. But if you're going to keep on rejecting him, may the day of the Lord's vengeance be upon you tenfold. How dare you? No, it's righteous indignation. I hate what God hates, right? And if we're supposed to put on the whole armor of God, what does that make us? We're going to fight and hate what he hates, right? And it's lawlessness because you have the choice. It is intelligent rebellion at this point. You can't tell me you don't know what you're doing, right? At this point, you no longer can claim, forgive them, Father, they don't know what they do. A lot of them don't know what they're doing, but now, in an age where everybody can read, in an age where, 80-90% of our world can pick up a phone and Google something to see if we're telling the truth, to discern the spirits, where you can actually pick up a book, but you'd rather watch a comedy hour, you'd rather binge 10 episodes of a Netflix series. I don't have time for that. So how's God supposed to make time for you? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
I think we may be a little crazy, but I don't think it's like a bad crazy. There's a good crazy and there's a bad crazy. So, but no, man, you're absolutely right. And like I said earlier, you're not just saved once and it's all over, and you don't stop trying to walk with the Christ just because of that, because you will. I mean, I've seen people, fall. Some just happened. I don't know what just happened. That was
You
weird.
okay?
Yeah, it was weird. It's like my head, one of my head phones stopped for a second and then picked back up. I don't know. That was strange.
Demonic
This shit
interference trying to
happens,
whisper in your
dude.
ear.
Oh, dude, my light went out a couple weeks ago after I went on NDS for a little bit. So,
Oh, you had an incident too?
huh?
You had an incident too? When I was doing their show, there was like this huge sound that went on, and they're like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "Yep."
I remember that.
Yes. So you watched it?
Yo, dude, we covered Lady Gaga on Saturday Night Live summoning Lamashtu, the ancient, Sumerian demon of destruction and disease, and talked about it for almost a good 2 hours. And I had a sound science. Me and the Paranoid American had a sound science with Shane Cashman right afterwards. It's another music show that I do. It's awesome. And right before that show, like my light was on, and all of a sudden it just fucking buzzed in and out a couple times and just cut out. I was like, well, that was fucking weird.
Dude,
I
I'm
don't know.
telling you. People don't realize that when we're dealing with spiritual warfare, that kind of stuff happens because how dare you expose me? How dare you tell people again, this is the power that you have, and this is that people don't realize. With the power of God, you have the right to condemn evil. And there's a certain point where it's like, I'm not condemning you. I'm angry at the actions that are literally hurting you. I'm yelling at the cancer that's inside of you. Not specifically you, but there's a point when you're telling me, no, that's part of me. Don't cut it out. I like it too much. And that's what's hurting me because I'm seeing you deteriorating and you're telling me you're a healthy specimen. And I'm like, your body's half gone. You got to start fighting this back. And you're not bothering to put in any effort to take your medication to do so. And I'm not saying pills and big pharma, but I'm saying like you got to start taking some holistic remedies here to counteract this virus. But you don't want to do that.
Yeah, man. No one wants to be uncomfortable.
Mm.
No one. I mean, I've put myself through uncomfortable situations at times, and I've realized in the end that it's benefited me. You
Yes.
know, I mean, you could call it dark night of the soul, you know, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, that's why. And I actually posted this on Twitter earlier this week, maybe last week. You know, I don't talk about all this occult symbolism, you know, just because like I'm trying to get people to practice the occult or, you know, because I'm trying to expose it.
Yes.
So people can recognize it. Right. And learn how to, you know, like I said earlier, have discernment, how to, I guess, you know, and teach their children.
Yes.
Because I've taught my son some things lately, and I think it's benefited him as well. It's made him, you know, but I mean, that's again, slippery slopes, guys, right? You don't want to teach your kids too much, and then they go and buy an Alice Bailey book or fucking, you know, Robert Anton Wilson or whoever, right? And so yeah, man. But I think the way that you
Hold on,
explain
you're scratching.
Huh?
Just you scratching.
What do you mean?
Every time you speak, it sounds like a bee's on top of your mic.
Uh-oh. Well, see? This shit happens, dude. I'm telling you. What about now? A little lower? Still there. Is there a bee on my mic?
It's literally what's going to sound like.
I'm in my garage, dude. So it's still buzzing.
Yeah.
Okay. What about now?
Still. Not as bad, though.
Now?
Still there.
Still there? Okay.
Testing.
Test. Yes. Nancy says I sound like an alien. Hey, Nancy. I don't know how an alien sounds, but fuck, well, I don't hear it. Well, yeah. Okay.
Maybe it's the mic, because if you're already having problems with the earpiece, maybe there's a connection with that. Oh. Now it's making a reverberating sound.
Oh no, is it still doing it?
Only when you tap that.
What about now? Is it sounding any better?
You're still gargly now. Now you're sounding gargly bee. That's what it sounds like.
Still sounds bad.
Yeah.
Hey, stay here for 2 seconds. All right.
Do you want to put up the chat? Maybe I can interact with the audience in the meantime.
Talk to people. Well, can you read the chat?
Let's see if I can see comments. Oh, yes.
Guys, talk to Brandon for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Pretty bad. Sounds like you're shooting lasers. Jay Brooks. Hello. Handsome. Oh, thank you. I want to know exactly what you're rated in Jay Brooks' list of my favorite goys. Oh, thank you. In AA, they told me about higher power could be a doorknob. Yeah. I think I was doing a show with Cliff from Truth to Faith podcast. Shout out to Cliff. And he was telling me that like it could be a light bulb, a doorknob, like you just said, Jay Brooks. I was like, yeah, it's like an inanimate object is my higher power. How is that supposed to save me when I need it? It doesn't make any sense with that argument. High vibe, nice. Doorknob. You're funny, Solar. Let's see. So close enough.
What about now?
You sound crisp and clear.
It's StreamYard, dude. I'm telling you, I'm done.
Yes, NPCs. Sorry.
Huh?
I'm just reading the comments.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I thought
You're
you
very
said
funny.
it sounds bad again. Oh, my audience is great, man. I have the best audience. Like that I couldn't ask for. What
Nancy's asking if do you think Baron will marry his mother. I don't know if Christians would be around for that particular event, but I personally would not be surprised if something really weird. I mean, honestly,
we know how it works in these elite families, and you can trace that back to like the Fallen or the Anunnaki, them mating with their cousins and their
or even the Egyptian royalty dynasty. Yeah.
Well, you know, Brandon, I've talked to you. I think it's just the same deities rebranded, right? They had children, they branched out into certain parts of the world, and they were worshipped in all these different places under different names, you know?
Yeah.
Because I know you've talked about like when you talk about Tammuz and Thoth, I have a different interpretation of that. Tammuz is Thoth's little brother from the ancient ancient. Yeah. And so
that's if I could counterpoint on that, what I believe is that you already had the Nephilim, and then again handed over to Nimrod's family. What do they do? I am reincarnated of this one. I am reincarnated of that. Who knows? When some people say maybe Nimrod became a Nephilim, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is
let me give you my opinion on Nimrod. Nimrod was the resurrected spirit of a son of El named Ninurta or Ninurtu.
Yes.
Okay. So see, we're kind of on like.
Yes, I think there's similarities, but again, it's kind of hard to hash out.
Well, the symbolism, bro. Like when you look at the bull, and I talked about this earlier this week. You have Marduk, who is known as Amar Utu, the solar calf, right? The solar bull, and then you have Enlil, known as the bull of heaven, right?
Yes.
Like so, it's attributed to these different deities, but you could say, I mean, it's all the same energy, right? That satanic energy. From a lot of them, I mean, they're adversaries. The fallen are adversaries of the creator.
Correct. And I think that's why the astrological aspects. Oh, look, because I tuned into these stars, right?
What do you think about astrotheology? Because I had someone on last Saturday that dumped on me an hour and 30 minutes of just, none of this is real. It's all. What do you think? Tell me. And I don't agree with everything they say. I do think, however,
there's elements.
I mean, what happens in heaven is mirrored on earth, right? What the occultists did was take that as above, so below, and they subverted it.
Yes.
Right. For their own teachings.
Yes.
But the natural order of the creator of God, that's what I think. He created us in his image, right? So why wouldn't everything be in the image of heaven that he created? But what do you think about that. I'd like to get your opinion on that.
So the whole thing, again, even with the whole thing with stars, now when I hear, I genuinely see a lot of that entailing with angels. So the thing of like, oh, I'm a little star seed with this new ageism. What I
Yeah.
personally suspect is that when Wormwood hits from Revelation, and I suspect it might hit America, don't know for sure, but I'm suspecting that it'll take out a good portion. And what the cover story will be, because Christians I don't think will be here anymore, because this is revenge for them taking out the saints by God. What I think the cover stories is going to be is, oh, it was almost the second Big Bang, but we had some of the aliens help, and they came with their lasers and they split half the meteorite, and or they pushed it off course just enough because we could have lost the whole planet, quote unquote. And I think this is where they would do Project Bluebeam. And by this, they're going to say,
The
oh,
ascended masters, right? All these people performing the miracles that Christ performed.
yes.
But it's all a deception because people don't understand what we're talking about.
Well, right. But for me, it's like, to plan something that big, all these people had already been laughing at us, but they don't know what Project Bluebeam is. They don't know what we're talking about. But this is what I think is they're going to. Yes, he did.
By his own brother.
Yeah, I'll cover that in a second.
Well, dude, that goes back to Marduk and Tammuz. In the Sumerian myth, Marduk
they say
killed
Seth,
Tammuz.
was it Seth or Shem? There's two variations, but in essence, what was it? Like, I think this is why Tammuz castrated himself.
Dude, you're gonna get me into a whole thing with the worship of the moon god sin.
Yes,
and
monolith months, Mons Pubis. Where do you Monday? Moon worship, right?
And then
so why would he
Horus
castrate himself? It's just like a Roman emperor that's going cuckoo, saying, "I will be like one of the gods and like my dad." Freak. What? But then what do? They raise all these monoliths all over the place. And again, what would Nimrod? I think was it Seth or Shem? They allegedly, according to lore, they were trying to emulate exactly what you just said. And what he did is, in Shem, I'm suspecting, because Seth, I don't think survived the flood. I think he was gone before then. What I'm thinking Shem did is saying to Nimrod, saying, "You want to be like that mythological god? Well, this is what happened to him." And then what did
Shem,
Tammuz do?
the son of Noah, right?
Yes. And then what did Tammuz do? He went to avenge his father, and he cut off Shem's dingaling, and that's how he killed him. But Shem managed to get him in the eyeball before he died. And this is part of the reason why we have an all-seeing eye now on top of the pyramid. I might have lost an eye, but I found inner enlightenment about this whole situation. I don't know. Again, some of this is mythology. Some people trying to say, I will replicate his life. Because again, like you said, energy, it's ritual practices.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we're getting off track. But yes, it ties back into that whole star thing. Is then, and what are they doing? Create a matrix, create an illusion. And then what do we get now? One if by land, two if by sea. Did you watch Godzilla and Kong when they team up?
Yeah, my son watched
the base of the pyramid, and the other one comes, or like when they had that thing with Brazil, and it's Christ going like this.
Oh, dude! I didn't even.
Right?
Oh, I gotta go back and watch that now, dog.
I'm over here going, and again, it's called the New Empire, and it's Godzilla X Kong, X for Osiris Rising.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The this and then this is Osiris slain. Someone's gonna clip that and be like, "Look at this guy, Illuminati confirmed." No, guys, we're not practicing. We're not doing an Osirian ritual right now. We're just explaining Osiris Rising. Oh man, I watched I did a whole thing on Osiris. I did a whole deep dive. I can't even. I swear, man. I read too much sometimes. I get into too many different topics at once. Because I try to make connections, right?
Yes.
But to my it's not. It's probably not a good idea. I don't know.
Not Christendom. Christendom is Kabbalah. No, thank you. Christianity, just Christian.
Shit! Really?
Yeah, there's a big difference between. Again, I had a Mason tell me this at my other job.
Well, the guy that told me the astrotheology stuff is an ex-Mason.
Yeah.
So,
he says, look into that. Christendom and Christianity, there's a big difference. I was like, Okay. And he's the one that gave me the name Tammuz. And that's what the second thing that kind of got me into a lot of the stuff that I'm doing. I said, you gave me a name. I went on a rabbit trail and look, oh boy, we're missing a lot. What's up, Casey?
Casey, what's up, man?
Is that
Weird.
Dexter?
I don't know.
Is that Dexter?
We
with
were
the
just
shut guy?
talking about that earlier, man. No, thanks for coming and checking me out, brother. I hope you enjoyed the podcast with Sam. I kind of opened my mouth and fucking spewed just a bunch of information I had all stored up. I probably got off track. I always like am very self-critical of myself. I'm like, dude, I could have done so much better. I sounded
Hey,
like
dude.
a fucking idiot. Like that. I think that's common. But so what do you think about this though? Like, if it exists in heaven, like I don't know. I think God would create that on earth. I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, sometimes I'm watching things like Stranger Things and I'm beginning to wonder, what if like the inverted part of the egg, quote unquote,
egg?
So if we have like what, the crystal sea up in heaven, and then you try to invert that, who's to say that's not the the kind of, maybe you have the lake of fire under where hell is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, but like, what if it's like a mirror of heaven, but it's hollowed out, it's burning, it's like this is what you could have had for all of eternity. It's like the complete opposite of what you get in Christianity, where everything is there. The streets are paved with gold. In hell, the streets are paved with coal. And wow, that's really good. I should write that down for a poem.
You should write it down.
That was good. But yeah, like that's kind of how I'm seeing it. It's mirrored, but it's also an inversion, because everything is perfect, as we get with Thanos, everything perfectly balanced as all things should be. That's kind of what it is with the spiritual realm of things. What they're trying to make us believe with the Matrix, and it's a term that's affiliated with Kabbalah. I think I did that in Are You Ready to Rem Fan? Is that
Are you ready to rip it?
Dude, I have a song with it too. It's awesome. It sounds like a WWE. It's like, are you ready to run fast? When dude, it's awesome. It's awesome. I'll tag you in it next time I repost it.
Oh man, that's funny, Brandon.
Well, sometimes I'm trying to come up with a title that will draw people in. Like, I thought a title, God's Been Divorced, would make a whole lot of people come over, and again, just to listen for the sake of arguing theology. But most people, all they could do is leave a dislike, because they can't really argue their counterpoints, right?
Right.
But yeah, anyways, to answer your question, yes, what they're trying to do is make us question reality. That's the whole purpose of the Mandela effect. That's the whole purpose of censorship online. This is AI.
The whole purpose of CERN.
Right. It makes you second guess what is reality, but it's cognitive dissonance. What is it? It's basically like taking a brat, and it's justifying the way they think and they view the world. So your perspectives are going to be consoled by them advocating online censorship. Oh, they're saying Trump's the bad guy. Yes, online censorship. Oh yes, conspiracy theories are the bad guys. We need to get rid of them because they're making people not accept our reality. And what does that do? You literally just censored and silenced truth because it's too much for you to process. So you keep advocating for statism to be the takeover. You're asking for big government because those people are annoying how you view the world and your interpretation of it. And we're over here going, there's a secret society connected with this guy. Who funds this person? Stop telling me that. The system is going to work if we just drain it. Okay?
The best is this. Bro, secret societies aren't real.
Bro, dude.
I'm just like, dude,
I had a guy
fucking leave. Get the fuck out of here. Literally.
There was a guy on Facebook saying, oh, look, you're talking about conspiracy theories. Of course, I had to check out his Facebook thing. And you know his bio is? Captain Anarchy. And I'm laughing. It's like, okay, no, you're Captain Dumbass. Excuse the language. But I was like, no, because the very definition of anarchy.
He's probably libertarian, so he's probably gay. So
hey, listen, hold on. I have libertarian sentiments, but not political party.
Well, I used to be a libertarian back when I
because Klaus Schwab, and I'm going to be showing this in the episode. He says the greatest threat to our movement is this movement called libertarianism. World Economic Forum guy saying that, not me.
That motherfucker has an island in Antarctica called New Schwabenland.
What?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Schwab's island, dog. Yeah. His father.
Schwabenland.
Yeah.
Dude. But anyways, the sentiments are good because what is it? It's individual accountability. And again, I take that with the verse in Joshua. You know, as your forefathers, they served the other gods on this side of the river, stuff like that. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Again, masculine wise, we are supposed to have accountability for our household, right? That aspect, yes. Political party, screw that. No. the sentiments of what that entails, yes, it does align very biblically. But the aspect of Captain Anarchy, I said the whole aspect of anarchy is to be against rulers. Therefore, to be against rulers, you have to be against corporations. And in order to be against corporation, you have to be against conspiracies of said corporations that are against everything in society, that are forging things to cause problems in society, which is the very definition of a conspiracy. So therefore, to diss a conspiracy theorist is to be literally bashing your whole identity of calling yourself Captain Anarchy.
Oh,
You
these
can't be
people
against rulers
throw on
and-
foot every time, dude.
Dude, it's like they're a walking anomaly. Do you hear the hypocrisy merry-go-round you just created for yourself? And I'm like, this is why most people do not. I'll tell you this story. This was a funny one.
Okay.
I was at my old job, and I was taking katana classes, and I started talking with this gentleman about guns, and of course
Hell
they're
yeah,
doing.
dude. Katana classes?
Oh yeah,
Bro.
freaking awesome.
Yes.
I got my sensei once in the foot, and I was like, it was a really good jab, dude. I did like a perfect. And one time he hit me right on the handle of the hilt, and he just missed my fingers.
Dude,
and
I didn't even know katana classes existed. So,
dude, it's so much fun.
I'm gonna see if
I
there's
looked
anything
at him. I
around
said,
here.
"This is a family heirloom." You. I got him right on the forehead. Anyways, side rant. But I was at work, and of course the guy. He's a big I'm reading the comment. He's a big gun advocate.
What's up, whistling pee hole? Some of these people, I haven't seen a few of these YouTube people, guys. So, excuse me. If you're on YouTube, I usually only stream when I do like a swap cast or when I have somebody like Brandon on just for like an interview or to talk about stuff, as well as, well, actually, that's it. Y'all really don't get anything else on YouTube live stream wise. You get all the content, obviously. Already Dead. I stream that every Tuesday. It's a show I do with Austin and Jose. But the Elohim etymologies are posted later. I have to do the private streams on YouTube for those. But in Sound Science, we play too much music, and then Sunday Chaos is too degenerate. So yeah, we so y'all come on over to Rumble if y'all want. But hey, I've had a lot of I don't think I've ever had as many YouTube folks in here as I have today. So
I'm glad they're here.
I may start streaming. I'll start streaming there more. Maybe,
Just don't
guys.
say the V word because I'll take you down in 2 seconds flat, dude.
4 account subs. Who knew?
Anyways, to answer the person's question, yes, swords are very cool. And the other one, so anyways, the story.
Sorry, Brandon.
It's all good. This guy was telling me, oh, katanas, they're not going to be good because he's giving me the classic Indiana Jones reply from somebody that's just like a big gun-toting person. It's just like, oh, I just grab my gun and boom. And I'm telling him there's over 20 ways to draw a katana sword. And, if I close the distance quick enough, you're not expecting, there's a potential that, So he's trying to give me all this counterpoints. And it was making me a little frustrated because I was over here going, we've lost the art of hand-to-hand combat where it was, I understand I am taking a life. I'm putting practice into this because this is something of respect. It's something of value. Put tongue to steel. We'll see where your words stand.
It's an art.
Martial
arts. Yeah.
So I went over to my my Chinese Pakistani mutt friend over there, and we were always messing around with each other with racial slurs. Dude, he was that was his words. He's I'm a mutt, and this is I go to this place, they say I'm this, they say I'm that. But I went over to him and I was explaining the situation to him, and he's a very small, very frail, humble man. And he just looks over at him and he looks at me and he goes, "Your first mistake was arguing with a fat man." And I said, "Wait, so you're saying I'm wrong?" He says, "Yes, because he thinks with his belly, not with his mind." And I was like, whoa. Okay, so what
Damn,
he
dude.
taught me with that was you can talk to people, but if they don't understand anything of what you do or what the elements of what goes into it, and their life is focused on materialism or, you know, absorbing.
Goes right over their heads.
Yeah, he's incredibly bald too, but also a Mason. But again, he's never going to get past level 2, which I think he is at his lodge, because he's stupid as all get out. And they're like, this is why they have tier systems for a lot of people. Then they have the just go straight up to the top because you already got the bloodline, you already know the thing, you already know what our end game objective is. I mean, I'm related to Franklin and Albert Pike, so I could get right to the top.
Whoa, wait, hold on.
You didn't know this?
No. But now you have to tell me about it. So
I know.
I have morals and dogma right behind me, just because, you know. But so, oh, all right. You want to fill me in?
Cancels the show, disappears.
Yeah.
Go do the show in front of me. Oh my god. No. So the story with that. My mother's name is Pike, Julie Pike. And needless to say, when I was adopted, I wanted to do some family digging around. I want to know who I'm related to and all this stuff. So I start digging around on Ancestry.com, and eventually I come onto this this one particular thing with Beseda Fulger, or Abaya. I can't remember all the exact names, but she was the sister of one of the ladies who threw the shoe during the Salem witch trials, which happens to be Ben Franklin's aunt. And that's my grandma who threw the shoe.
Yeah. Dude, well, you should have told me this like 2 hours ago, man. And oh, dude, what? I'm sorry.
So,
that's just
so with the other family connection of how I connect to Pike. So as I'm digging around, I'm digging into family history with the name Pike, and Pikes Peak, Colorado, of course, somehow pops up, and I'm starting to go, okay, so I'm related to Zebulon Montgomery Pike. And the whole plot premise with that is he was allegedly, this is all not confirmed, I'm still reading books on it because this is a big conspiracy. So allegedly, Aaron Burr was going to split the Union. And just like with the Civil War, they were going to go down to Mexico and see if they could recruit any, military assistance with this. So they recruit Zebulon Montgomery Pike to go out during the Lewis and Clark expedition, and he took the mid portion of Louisiana Purchase while they took the northern, right? We never talk about the mid portion. Why? Because I guess this thing could come out in public knowledge, which it is out there, but you have to kind of look for it.
right.
So he was a double agent, and the guy he was working for was a General Wilkinson, or was it Colonel Wilkinson? Whatever. And he was working for Spain. And he basically sent out my cousin to act as an emissary to go down to Mexico City. So he went out there. He didn't make it all the way to the top of Pikes Peak. He just like, okay, we made it halfway. We're good. We're going to call it ours. And he runs into a detachment from Mexico. They bring him all the way down to Mexico City. He claims, I don't speak Spanish, but he was fluent in both French, Spanish, and English. Goes all the way down to Mexico City. Then they sent him back. They said, no way, Jose, we're not doing that. And that was the end of that story. So I'm over here going, well, if he was a Mason, the Zebulon guy, and his name is Pike, is there any relation between him and Albert Pike? And a connection with the Civil War, acting as an emissary, because he was in charge of the tribes. Was the 5 coalitions of the tribes that were basically excommunicated off their land at the Trail of Tears. He was forming a coalition because the federal forces during the Civil War were like, we can't send resources all the way out to the reservations during this time. So it's, kind of fend for yourselves. And then the Native Americans were going, well, if we're not going to be getting anything part of the terms of agreement with being on a reservation, maybe we should side with the South. And the South was actually going to give them even chairs in the Congress and Senate. Then a potential to actually come back into the South. And Pike was in charge of all of that. So anyways, long story short, you do a Google search and you'll find that Zebulon Montgomery Pike is a cousin affiliated with Albert Pike, therefore making me a distant cousin and or uncle in relation to him.
All right.
Right? I'm also related to Amelia Earhart, distantly.
Wow, dude. Yeah, my
I
mom,
get around.
her was it her uncle? No. Okay, so
No,
my
so hold on.
my
I'll pull it up.
grandma's cousin married Rory Kennedy.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
And so by marriage, I'm
Yep.
related to the Kennedys.
Dude.
Yeah. I don't think I've talked about that before.
It is a bit much.
It's
That
weird.
he did not say that specific quote. So what what Albert Pike specifically said about the heroes quote, he said, we always give the public their heroes. We give the heroes to every faction. And then people, once they hear this person say all the right things, we give releases to them because he or she speaks it for me. We say that we say go there and they do that and they do it. We give our power and authorized heroes. Is attributed to Albert Pike, also known as the Pope of Freemasonry in the 1800s. That's a very similar phrase. So like the centurion said, I said to my soldier to go there and he does it. And I said to do this and he'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then that goes to what JC's saying. The famous quote is misattributed. Oh, is it misattributed to him? The when the people cry out for a hero, we shall supply him. Then
It's
he
a
also
paraphrase.
predicted
Yeah.
the World War III.
Yes. And no, I'm not susceptible to getting lost. If anything, just think of it like the Bible. Like again, you always read these genealogies, dude. And this king was good and he stayed faithful to God. This one fell away and he was a bad king. This one was a really bad king. King Solomon, everybody's susceptible to being lost. That's not just somebody who has a bloodline. That's everybody. Everybody is susceptible. If you're not following the word of God, then you are susceptible.
Well, I think we're susceptible,
Peter? Hold on.
Oh, no, sorry. I keep interrupting you. It's a problem I have.
Don't worry about it. There's a verse. Of course. I'm going to have to dig around for it.
Okay.
Somebody popped up with a verse the other day that was from Peter. And of course, I got this new Google Microsoft thing. And it's, okay. One of the scariest verses in the Bible is when you think you're saved and it's not as you think. And it says, quote, 1 Peter 4:18, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? The great falling away, right? Which we read about. You can't have a great falling away if all people are not susceptible, right? A great falling away in the faith. You're telling me that Judas is in heaven? He might be. I actually wouldn't be surprised if he was. He also might not be, according to some other people's arguing counterpoint, saying that Paul says you have to acknowledge that you're a sinner. But here's the thing. I feel bad for Judas. What? Why? He betrayed Christ. Don't we all? What are you talking about? Like you kiss the word of God every day, kiss him on the cheek. But you practice like a heathen with your holidays and your patriotism and all your other stuff of as above, so below, which you don't even realize that you're doing. But what did Judas do? Give me materialism, which the originator of coinage was allegedly Hermes, aka Tammuz, Nimrod's son. And if that is the case, what was he always saying? Render unto Caesar the things that were Caesar's, and unto God the things that were God's. Coinage is all belonging to man, right? Of governments. God wants your spiritual priorities first and foremost to him. In contrast, Christ is saying, I don't care about materialism. I don't care about coinage. Is it there? Yes. But deal with that as you may while you're here, but don't forget your spiritual priorities. This is what people aren't doing. So what does Judas do? I am going to renounce the coinage. I'm going to go back and give it to them. Now, in their tradition of Hebrew culture, only a high priest was supposed to punish you if you betrayed another one of your own people. He made a deal with them. So they're not going to punish him. And what does he do with the coins? I don't want it anymore. Take
He
it.
gives them back to him, right?
Yes,
Well,
he throws it onto the temple floor. And then what does he do? He doesn't know what Christ is about to do to redeem all mankind. And he can't repent with a sacrifice because he made a deal with the devil, with the priest. So what am I going to do? I can't repent. God's not going to hear me if I just betrayed the Son of God. I don't
Right.
know what Christ is doing, so I'm going to take my own life. Now, what does he do it on? A tree.
what kind of
Right?
tree?
I don't know what kind of tree, but I know his guts spilt out.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I just
two
wanted to
people
know
hanging
what
on
kind of
trees.
tree. Maybe it was symbolic or something.
Yeah,
I
he
don't know.
cursed himself because to hang on a tree means to be cursed.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so you're telling me that's not a sign of remorse? You can't go the traditional route. You don't know what Christ is doing. What are you supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I'm not saying, oh, if you commit suicide, you go automatically into heaven. No, I'm not condoning
Right.
that. What I'm saying is this is probably the most confused individual in the history of humanity. And he doesn't know which way to turn because he doesn't know what's going on. And you have the audacity to throw stones at him when you yourself are practicing Kabbalah and you don't even know it. Shame on you. Come on, dude. Come on.
Dude, I've talked about that a lot lately, how people basically practice the occult daily and don't even know it.
Oh, sorry. I was just reading a comment. It said a dumb Amelia Earhart joke. I'm susceptible to getting lost. Sorry. Misunderstood.
I thought it was funny, Casey.
Actually, I was in a store one time. I was probably a teenager, and one of the store clerks was noticing me. I'm looking around. I'm looking for my mom. He says, "Can I help? Can I help you? Can I help you find something?" I said, "Not necessarily. She knows where she is."
Dude, I don't think I
I don't
ever
get
got
lost. I
lost.
just go on the journey.
Well, we're getting down to the second hour here, man.
Yeah.
So what do you got coming in the future? You got anything that you're dropping soon?
Yeah, I'm doing the Doge. I'm still trying to come up with a title. I was going to do Doge debunking the Baphomet, but I might do debunking the Baphomet in its own separate thing. Trying to condense, because it's always really hard to try to condense it. And again, I know I'm lengthy, but that's why I tell people watch at your own pace. That's what beauty of hitting pause. And oh, by the way, when you hit pause, that's another sidebar. 2 pillars. Freemasonry. Pause
Yeah.
and reflect before you go through, and then it's a pyramid when you hit play again.
Well, it's the same thing. Me and my buddy John Lee Chowbeck, he does the "It's Not What You Think" podcast. You should get up with him.
Okay.
He wrote a book on Crowley talking about 77, right? And he has all these pictures from all these events that have happened that he generated with AI, basically. But he put he wrote in, all the research in the book is from him. And so yeah, the 2 pillars being the 2 bottoms on the 7s, and like you said, the Twin Towers.
Yes.
I mean, even William Ramsey has that book with Crowley doing the
Yeah.
and the Twin Towers right next, right? So it's but you should get up with John Lee, man. I think y'all have a good conversation. He just went on NDS too.
People got to recommend me because some of these people are looking at me going, "Who the freak are you?" Again, I'm nobody.
Well, I looked at your Man a Daily podcast page because on Instagram you got like 15,000 on your Instagram, but then on your podcast one you had like 150
followers.
It may have been like an old account.
1,000?
I'm pretty sure on your
150,000 because my stats aren't showing that.
No, I'm saying 15 on your main, and then like 150 on the Man a Daily one. But I don't think you post on it much. Maybe it's something that you made
or
Instagram.
Rumble? Instagram's only got 12,000. And by the way, fun fact, I do get rid of a lot of people because I look at their bio or I'll see there's like, what are you following me for? And then 2 days later, they get upset because they're defending statism, and I'm like, I'm against everybody, but especially probably Trump because I suspect he's the AC because of the stuff I've researched. I recommend an episode. They don't want to watch it. I said, okay, bye. I'm just getting tired of repeating that process, dude. I probably should be up to about 15. But anyways, where was I going with that? Yeah, a lot of them. What
I
I'm
was just
trying
gonna
to
tell
do
people to follow the other account too, guys.
is look me up on Spotify. Actually, looking me up on Spotify, I think on
Okay.
Spreaker, that's actually how we get paid, is people looking us up, not necessarily how much they listen to us.
Okay, cool.
I need the money. Sorry, on Patreon, I'm like, it's literally us all funded by you because I'm out of my savings and they're trying to kick me out of my place. So trying to find a place to move to. But yeah,
Move to the south, dude.
I've been considering Tennessee. But honestly, I need something that's really cheap because I keep telling people I need like parsonage cheap. I can't do 2,000.
Depends on what part of Tennessee, because Nashville, my whole dad's
Crazy
side of my family
expensive.
lives in Nashville, and it's pretty expensive. But Knoxville, my mom lives in Knoxville, and there's actually some pretty nice parts there that aren't too expensive.
Mm.
So, and it's cool as shit over there, man. Like they're developing a bunch of stuff, and then you got Gatlinburg, like 45 minutes away. But
Yeah. I've considered that, or New Hampshire. I think, was it Tennessee and New Hampshire the only ones that banned chemtrails, if I remember correctly.
no shit.
Yeah. So I was like, and New Hampshire, you don't have to pay taxes if you're a resident of the state. I was like, wow, that sounds pretty freaking
I
cool.
forgot that they passed that, dude.
Yeah. So that's just something where I was like, again, I'm suspecting we're close to the end, but for me, I'm just trying to keep on going until I can't go anymore. That's just, honestly, I think by 27, the way it's going right now, with people, they're grabbing people and nabbing them off the street. Move into Jules group. Yeah. I've
Dude,
worked pretty.
you be getting woken up every morning by my daughter, just asking you questions.
But, can I help you?
Oh man.
No, dude. One of the funniest things I ever woke up to, dude, was I was living at these people's. I was living in their basement, and I swore I heard something, and so I just did this like groggily rolled over, and their huge fat Mancoon cat was just sitting there staring at me. I literally was like eyes to eyes with him, and I was just like, "Good morning." That's not creeping me out at all.
Dude, I've been thinking about getting a cat. I don't know. Maybe. The last
Get
cat I
careful.
got, it was a little kitten, and we raised it outside. Then I gave it a bath. It got mad. It acted catty. And now it lives across the street at the neighbor's house, like on their back porch. So I guess I just shouldn't never bathed it. I just didn't want to get tapeworm or anything. But I live in the country, so there's tons of fucking cats. There's also coyotes.
Yes.
So
They're starting to become some hybrids between wolf and coyote too. I've been hearing they're on the rise.
Wolf-odies.
Yeah. Other projects I have coming, doing Curse of the Archons, a statist or saint. It's supposed to be another episode on prepping, and again, it's going to specify a little bit more in depth, and also outlining, because everybody's like, "Oh, you're this, you're that," and outlining again libertarian in sentiment, not political party allegiance,
Right.
because that's just stupid. Because people don't know how to look into definitions. Like you, again, this is not a diss towards you, but you were just even asking, what is a statist? You could be something without even knowing it.
Yeah, dude, there's so much that I don't know.
Right, and again, it's not necessarily that we're putting this adjective on you, and then again, it's like, what do we do? Oh, you're a liberal, so you automatically means you have blue hair, means you're a vegan, but you put all these things, presupposition, definition on somebody, just hearing one word, when you can break that down, and that's a lot of people don't seem to understand, is I can view both sides, and as a militant centrist and a Christian, I can see both sides, I can hear what the argument is like a judge, right? And then I can come to my own conclusion. I compare it alongside what I know about the cult. I compare it alongside of what I know about the Bible and secret societies and all this stuff. And I can come to my own conclusion. What I'm trying to show people is you can listen to both sides, right? But you have to, there's going to be like precepts of like when you're talking to somebody, okay, you're a glober. I happen to believe in biblical cosmology. Does that mean I just throw out everything else that you do know about the Bible in this particular topic? No. But you know what I'm saying? You have to learn we're all not going to collectively think alike. If we do, we're doing what Carl Jung wants, which is collective consciousness, which is what the New World Order wants, where we all become one starseed, and just come back together into this one thinking hub, and we're all of one mindset. No, we are allowed to disagree, but it's understanding. You have to kind of look into some definitions so that you're not automatically throwing the baby out with the bathwater, as you just said. I
Right.
absolutely agree with the stuff that you dig into. What I'm trying to explain is post that, this is what they're thinking, just like when you see in a lot of movies, I am a god, or, this god now indwells me while I'm on earth. This is what I'm trying to explain to folks is this is Catholicism, and this goes into Nimrod. And then if you want to go even further, go into Jules' category, and he'll give you even context of you know what I'm saying? Because
Hell yeah, man.
I can't hold the whole library up here. I can give you enough
Yeah.
to point you in directions, but I can't do everything for you.
Dude, and that's what's great about this community is that like we all delve into the same stuff, but each of us have our like own little expertise on things, right? Like our own little thing that we go into a little bit more than the others, right?
Right.
And we can share that with each other, as well as, like you said, point people in that direction. Like, hey, you're looking for that kind of stuff. Like, you didn't agree with what I said, or you feel me?
Yeah,
So
dude,
I
absolutely,
think
man.
that's important. Just as long as we're all focused on like we talked, like we say all the time, bringing what's in the dark into the light,
Yes,
and not the false light.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That's the huge point. Is where I'm personally. That's why I think we mentioned this before about the like sensationalist content grifters, or
Yeah.
even like the Ben Shapiro. You're putting stuff out there. Yes, it's word salad though. Does anything ever change? No. But you keep telling people to support the system. This is like a therapist, right? This is like a what do you call it? A social therapist. Just keep going back out into the world. Keep trusting the system. I'm just going to keep talking about the problems that you have. But what's the solution, right? And this is where, again, I don't promote capitalism. I don't promote communism, right? I think if you try to find a philosophy, whether monetary, whether it is an actual philosophy made of man and stuff like that, we know that it's out there. But if it does not acknowledge God at the end of it as a solution, it's not worth pursuing. So do I understand there's elements of this? Yes. But do I believe that we should give to the poor? Yes. Do I need a government institution for that? No. You know what I'm saying? So we're canceling out this whole argument. I don't even think we need money. What? I believe in barter and trade. Ultimately, if we could do that, that would be ideal. You know what I'm saying? So you have to kind of understand is when somebody's saying a term, you don't just throw them under the bus and be like, oh, okay, you're one of those guys, right? Some people read my bio and you don't even know what that means. What does it mean to me? And that's the problem is a lot of people don't bother to ask, what does that mean to you? And if somebody presses you, can you actually defend and articulate what you mean? Now, as a writer, I love definitions. I could go on for days and days and days defending my point of view because I actually look into the meaning of the word. What's the origins? Then let's flip this like anarchy and archon, right?
No.
Anarchy. Oh, you're Antifa. No, because now I know I'm telling you about the archons. What the frick's an archon? You ever hear about the Titans, the Nephilim? Right. So you know what I'm saying?
Aeons.
Context is important, and it can keep unraveling and explaining what you mean. But don't be a sophist where you're just saying that's your truth. No, I'm not. I'm not liberal enough where you're going like, no, that's just your truth, and I hope you're happy with it. If you want to paint your fingernails as a 9-year-old kid or whatever, go ahead. No, I have things where you're like, no, we draw the line here.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I have a couple of guests that I'm trying to. I think he's been on Nephilim Death Squad. Marby. I'm drawing a blank on his first name. I do apologize. But he's going to be
Ed
talking
Mabry.
Ed Mabry. Sorry.
Yeah, man. Ed's awesome, dude. Yeah, they did a Book of Revelations. I mean, it was like 15, 20 episodes that they did on it. And now they're doing a Book of Genesis episode every Friday live. So
Oh wow, that's consistent right there, dude.
oh yeah.
Yeah, he's going to talk about the little season thing, about the origins of that, because I'm seeing a few people. I like to know what's the origins of where these things start. For me, I'm just wary of it because for me, I notice a lot of New Agers seem to gravitate towards it. Hence why I'm a little bit cautious, because if New Ages are promoting it, might be a little bit of a red flag. And I think personally, it does also take away a lot of people from focusing. We are looking for the return of Christ, as opposed to the other one that's kind of already saying he already did show up. I don't know. We'll find out. And I'm also going to try to get some more political commentation, not necessarily that I support, like somebody like Chris Hedges. I'm looking to get him as a guest. I'm not sure if people are familiar, but he did like a Christian fascism or something like that in America. Bought his book, going to read it before I get him on the show. But I think that's something important to address, just kind of pick his brain on and kind of define specifically what are elements to look for. So people, again, everybody's at different levels. If I expected everybody to be at my level, that's just mean. No, and I never think of myself as better. All I ask is please pick up the book or something that I'm referencing before you throw the baby out with the bathwater, because I'm trying to help you get to a point where you are confident enough to just do it yourself.
Right.
And as you just said, in our community, you'll have a specialty. So you might call me the intelligence gatherer, right? That's kind of what I do. I do it to the Spiritual Intelligence Warfare Department, SWID. Yeah, right?
Great, man.
And somebody else, they might be, demolition expert. Somebody else might be heavy weapons. Like, again, there's everybody a prayer warrior. Everybody's got different things in the ecclesia, the body of Christ, and everybody has to just understand what part are you? Are you liver or stomach? Are you the intestines? Are you a toenail? Are you somebody that swings with the arms? Figure it out. That's what I'm just trying to encourage people to get confident. And I'm going on a rant, so I'll shut up.
No, you're good, man. Like I said, dude,
Yeah,
whenever you come
I'm
on the
excited.
show, you're more than welcome to
Therapeutic.
go on rants, go on tangents, whatever you want to do. Guys, did you tell them where to follow you at on
I
social
did in the
media?
beginning, but I'll recycle it because some people again joined in. Read the book for me and give me the cliff notes. That's kind of what I do on my show, which that's a perfect segue. Mana with 2 N's, Mana Daily Podcasts on Spotify, Rumble, and YouTube. Patreon, if you can. I'm gonna try. I want to have it where it's $2, $5, and $10 as max. Keep it really cheap so it's lower always than Netflix and all this other crappy stuff. And again, Patreon, and then Instagram, Krollology. KROLL ology lore _101. If you can find me, you could probably throw it in the show notes, because if you don't have that there, sometimes
I will.
Instagram make sure you do not find me.
I'll put
So,
it in
and
there.
thank you for having me on, man. This was a blast. I feel giddy talking to people like yourself.
That's awesome, man. No, dude. And I kind of want to do like a round table sometime and get a bunch of people in here, maybe have some debates, discussions, whatever comes out of it, man. I've been trying to work on planning that. So
Nice.
I think that'd be fun, man. I think that'd be fun, but we got to do this again sometime, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I'm trying to crank out as much of these as possible, but I love having chats with people like yourself, people who are awake. It's so therapeutic, dude. There's so many NPCs I'm around. I'm like, I only got maybe 2 people I hang out with that are
Oh, dude,
me.
the fatigue is real.
Yeah.
When you don't have anyone to converse with about this stuff. It's very refreshing to have
Yeah.
someone like such as yourself to talk about things like this.
Yeah.
But guys, you can find me on Twitter at Greypilled Pod, on Instagram, Greypilled _podcast. I'm on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. I created a Spreaker account twice, and it just didn't exist anymore. I don't know. Weird. And so I got to figure that out. But patreon.com/Greypill podcast. Yeah, guys, I may have a show tomorrow. Not so sure yet. May have a couple shows tomorrow. But I'm going on My Family Thinks I'm Crazy on Sunday with Mark Steves. So
It's another good one.
oh yeah, man, it's gonna be a good time. Maybe I can put that episode on the Patreon before it drops next week. And yeah, guys, got a lot of good stuff coming. Me and Paranoid American, I talked to him today. I'm gonna plan it here in the next couple weeks. Gonna do an occult Disney episode on the Patreon as well. It's gonna be a banger, and it may be a Patreon only episode. Like I've been talking about how I'm going to start doing some of those. We've already started doing some of those. They're kind of rants, and I'll go into a couple little deep dives on something. But yeah. Anyway, stickers coming soon.
Stickers.
Yeah, man, I got some stickers coming. Got merch coming, but probably.
Oh, I got
gonna
merch
have to
too, but we're
make a little
updating
bit.
it because Printify screwed up. I'm not sure if you were part of that. If you heard about it.
No.
Yeah,
Is that
Printify is basically. I
Printify?
think, I think they got bought out, but they're basically saying that you, as the owner of said merchandise, you have to pay for taxes of where it gets shipped to.
Oh,
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's just mean. So we're switching it over, but I do have some merch and whatnot.
that's awesome, dude. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. None of that. Hell yeah. I'll have
I
to
can
I'll
send
have
you
to go
some.
shopping.
Trying to send out to a couple of people if you want a mug or a sippy cup. I also have plushie toys. Mind your manners. A little lion and a lamb.
That's awesome, man. I love that.
It's just the mascot. Yeah, it's just a little, fun little puns and scripture to encouragement for folks. I'm gonna have, I think, a couple new ones in I don't know, about a month. I'm putting up tentatively because she has to switch it all over. Like Audit APAC, Dare to be a Daniel, but Dare like the drug Dare, and then with a praying thing to be against the culture.
Yeah.
Couple things like that.
It's awesome. Yeah, guys, go follow Brandon, subscribe to his channels. Yeah, the best way to support my show, Patreon. I got a few tiers over there, and like I said, got a lot of good stuff coming. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because I was thinking, paranoidamerican.com. I will have the description in I will have the link in the description. Promo code Greypilled. I thought it was GP, but that used to be, that's an old promo code for something else. Yeah, you get 10% off your purchase. So yeah, and I'll play one of these Paranoid American ads going out of here. Brandon, have a good weekend, brother.
Same to you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Hope to talk to you again soon. And guys, I will see y'all hopefully this weekend at some point. Everybody stay Greypilled. Later.
Trying to kill me, boy.
You handsome
Shouts out.
faggot.
Top Lobster Productions.
Look, you're going to have to move fast. Conspiracy cards from Paranoid American are here.
Conspiracy cards, flip it, what's the deal? Conspiracy cards with that paranoid seal. I can unwrap it, truth in these stacks. Flip one, flip two, get a few of these packs. Flip it up, what's next? Move fake, we flex. Bigfoot in the woods, stay lying, that's facts. MK Ultra, no cap. Every yacht 51 is a trap. Roswell crash, what's that? They hide the truth, where's that? Conspiracy cards, flip it, what's the deal? Conspiracy cards with that paranoid seal. I can unwrap it, truth in these stacks. Flip one, flip two, get a few of these packs.
That's right. Conspiracy cards from Paranoid American. A set of over 200 cards featuring legendary conspiracy theorists, cult leaders, esoteric secrets, and more. For more details, visit conspiracycards.com today.